Thank you for actually being obedient and launch that challenge. Because if you weren't obedient, since we're talking about that, with the vision that God called you to do, even though you had no idea where it was going, but you were obedient. And because of that, I'm a new podcast also. Thank you.
Hey guys, welcome back to Stretch Street Podcast. I'm super excited. I don't know if this is going to be a one off, but I'm here on the visual. But let's go right into it. Today's conversation is a gentle but powerful one. We're talking about obedience, not rigidly or heavily, but in the quiet, deeply personal sense of listening and responding. You know, those moments when you feel a nudge, right? And a prompting, an instruction that doesn't always make sense logically, but it feels right spiritually. And if we're honest, obedience isn't always easy. Ask Father Abraham. Sometimes it asks you to pause when you want to move when you feel unready, to trust when you don't even understand what is going on. But I've personally come to learn that obedience is often the bridge between where you are now and what you've been praying for. Okay, so in today's episode, we're going to explore what it looks like to trust God enough to follow those nudges, even when they feel inconvenient, unclear, and uncomfortable, because sometimes you feel like a small act of obedience can save you from a lot of stress, loss, or misalignment down the line. So you want to pay attention to those nudges, right? So my guest today is Nakeisha Geddes, a global business strategist, author, speaker, and licensed life insurance professional. Nakeisha's message is rooted in faith, resilience, healing, and global vision, with a passion for helping others move beyond survival and into lives that reflect alignment, impact, and possibility. She's a global business strategist, and today we're going to have that conversation with her. And see, she's a ball of excitement. You know, she's part of the program I just concluded just a few weeks ago, talking about a voice, a platform. And she's also, I didn't add that to her bio, she's also a podcaster. So I'm going to be speaking with a fellow podcaster. She's new on the block, but she is killing it. Like, she's nailing it. You should listen to her podcast. Her podcast is called Activate Your Freedom. AYF. All right. So if you're always finding yourself in survival mode and you want to understand what it means to be free, Nakeisha Geddes got your back. Okay, so go subscribe to her podcast, Activate Your Freedom, on all podcasting platforms, and listen, because this woman, she's a ball. She's a fireball. You'll see her in a minute. Okay, I'm gonna bring her up right about now to start the conversation. Hello, Nakeisha. How are you?
Hello. Thank you. Thank you for having
It's
me.
such a pleasure to have you today. How do you feel like when your bio is being read now? Podcasting is added to your title for many titles.
Listen, this podcast journey has been a journey. Like it gives me a different insight of visibility and just different ways to use your voice. Like, yeah, I listen to a lot of podcasts, but never thought of being a podcast host myself. But I'm excited. I love the journey and I'm enjoying every bit of it.
I'm super excited for you. I just love how you dove right into it and just gave it your 100%. And here we are today. And
Mhm.
I'm just looking forward to down the line, 6 months from now, 1 year from now, and see the amazing thing that you would have built from your podcast, the
Yes.
community, the products, the services, that you build out of this,
Yes.
conversation. And I am super excited to be a part of that story and to also continue to cheer you on that journey. All right. So thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you. It's an honor. Thanks for having me. Thank you for actually being obedient and launch that challenge. Because if you weren't obedient, since we're talking about that, with the vision that God called you to do, even though you had no idea where it was going, but you were obedient. And because of that, I'm a new podcast also. Thank you, thank you, thank you for following and doing what God asked you to do.
Absolutely. I love how you plugged it that right there, right there. Absolutely. Like there is nothing like, just jumping when you hear and when you sense, that
Mhm.
I think God is asking me to do this. And the truth is, um, over the years, it begins with, not being sure. Like, how do I even know that this is God? What makes me think that
Mhm.
this is God?
Mhm.
Like, how do I even confirm that? I remember in 2016, 2017, like, this was the biggest desire of my heart. Like, God, how do I know that you are the one talking to me? Do you see? Mind you, this is way like years before that. I should have known that, God speaks to me. Like, I could see it. Like, it's something like intuition, like a nudge here,
Mhm. Mhm.
like God saying, just having a desire or a prompt in your heart to call that person, check up on that person. Don't
Yes.
speak now. Keep quiet. Okay, pray for this person.
Mhm.
And all of those things.
Mhm.
I kind of, I'm very intuitive, girl. It's not
I
just
know.
intuition.
It's so odd. And I get asked that question a lot too. Like, how do you know it's God? And it's a spiritual
Mm,
awakening, and I feel like it's one of those spiritual awakening that you have to come to for yourself. Like, I wasn't always
mm,
like this. It was when my back was against the wall, and my back was against the wall because I was in survival mode. I was working in an unhealthy working
mm,
environment, and it was to the point where I knew there was more. And I was clinically depressed. I was just at a place where I knew I didn't want to
mm.
go back because it was so toxic. And it was toxic from day one. And I was in the environment for
Oh
15 years,
boy.
and it was 15 years of
Ooh.
toxicity, right? And I remember just being on, I put myself on unpaid sick leave. Like, I remember going to my doctor and like, I need a break. And he gave me that break, and it was unpaid, but the spirit just told me to just go on sick leave, and I did. And a lot of time we won't be obedient because we are thinking about the money. I remember what they said,
Mm,
unpaid. So I took a month unpaid. And I remember before I even did that, like, I was thinking about the money part, and the voice said to me, they're not paying you, I am. They're
oh,
not they're not the one that's
for
providing for
you.
you, I
Mm.
am. And if you take this 1 month off, you'll still be okay. And guess what? I was okay,
Isn't that beautiful?
right? I was
Mm,
okay. And but at that point I still didn't understand what was happening, that God was speaking to me, and I remember there was a time where I dropped my kids them off at school, and I sat at my kitchen table and I said, God, I don't want to go
mm.
back. And if I go back, I'm going to kill somebody, or somebody's going to kill me. Somebody's going to die. And that was a conversation. And I said, I'm going to sit right here until
What
you
to
tell me what
do?
to do. And that was the first time I've ever commanded God to speak to me, because that was a
Mm.
command. It wasn't a question. I was determined to sit at that kitchen table. And I think for the first time, I was listening because I wanted him to tell me what to do. And I commanded it, and I asked for it, and I sat there and I'm like, okay, tell me what to do. And that's when I got the download to start my own business. And remind you, I've never thought about starting a business. I don't know anyone that had a business. No one in my family had a business. So it's not something that I was in the environment. It's not something that I was influenced by anyone. It was just all the download. And sometimes God will put people in your life to help you. Because I remember when I got the download to launch this business. I work in the developmental sector where I work with children with special needs. But I loved what I do, but I hated the organization that I work for. And I didn't want to go back to work for another organization because like, think about it, 15 years now, you're going to go to somewhere else and start from scratch, lose your seniority. That's madness. Right. So I knew I loved what I was doing, but I just didn't like the culture of the organization. So when I got the vision to start my own organization, the first thing that the Lord said to me was, no, the first thing I said, God, this is a big vision. I need help. There's no way I could do this because I desire freedom, and this was not going to give me freedom. And he gave me the person that I should be do business with. It just showed me the person that should be my business partner. And I remember getting all excited and I pick up the phone and I called. This was in December of 2017. And I picked up the phone and I called a friend of mine. I said, guess what? I'm going to start my own business January. And she's like, why January? Why not now?
Oh.
And I was like, yeah, why not now? So it was like, but it just shows that sometimes God put the right people in your life, because if I'd wait for January, maybe I wouldn't have started the
Right.
business, right? Because it's all in the action, the immediate action. And I remember calling the person that the Lord showed that I should do business with. This was someone that just finished school. And I said that to her. She said to me, no, like her exact word, I got to pray about it. And I said, while you're praying, I'll be planning. And I swear, I guess God spoke to her because she gave me 50%. I planned 99% of the business.
Wow.
Whatever I tell her to do, she did. And we launched the business January 2018. Right. But it's all about, and I think for me, that was the first time I realized that God was
Mm.
speaking to me, even though He spoke
All
to
the
us all the
time, yeah.
time. But are we listening? Are we
Be
still? Are we
still
quiet? We ask for so much things, but we just
and
ask and
move.
we're busy. We ask and we're in a rush. We ask and we're like, Lord, help me, Lord, 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 Lord. But we don't stay still long enough to hear His
Yeah.
voice.
And I think, it's also like, even in the hearing of the in sometimes when we even get to download, there's also the how of what we're asking for. Like there's the what and then there's the how. So sometimes, like you said, we don't sit
Hmm.
still enough to hear the how. It could say go, but go how? Go
Hmm.
by foot,
Yes,
fly,
yes.
swim, or or go this.
And God is a funny God. Like, we have everything that we need within
Hmm.
us. Everything. Because when I was doing the business, when I was doing all the business planning and I was doing everything, and my business partner kept saying, oh, you know what to do. Oh, you know what to do. Oh, you know what to do. Guess what? I remember wanting to be a flight attendant years ago when I was younger. And I went to flight attendant school when I was 18. And one of the things when in Canada here, back then, not now, you had to be fluent in French and you had to know geography. I hate both. I hate language and I hate geography. So I knew this was not the course for me. So this was a September. So I transitioned into business school, the January, and I finished business school. I worked for a startup office. And when worked for that startup office for like 2 years, I remember growing that company. When I started, I think they had like 20, 25 because they were just new. And customers. And when I quit, like about 2 years later, they had over 200 customers, not just by me, but by me implement. I was the office manager, office reception, the HR, the
Everything
marketing
operation.
director, everything. Right. But because I started that company from when it just started, as the company grew, my
You.
responsibility grew. Right. And then I was learning how to do things. So I knew Monday what I was supposed to do, Tuesday what I was supposed to do. So I was getting those skills. However, I hated being in an office. And I quit 2 years later. And I told myself I'll never do business. So when I started to do
Mm.
business, planning my business, it was all that skill that I had from when I was 19
Wow,
that came
came
back.
back.
And it just showed like, yeah, God was
You.
preparing me from way back then.
Mm. Hmm.
It was all in me, but I had no idea. So it's like when people are like, oh, you know how to do business. I went to business school. And when my husband, a couple years ago, my husband went back to do HR. I did most of his work because I knew I had an idea,
Right.
right? So when he went back to school, most of those I was doing. So I was learning again, right? Because I was helping him with his assignment. So all that was in me. But it just shows that when God tell you to move, He already know that you have what's in you. It's already in you. And if it's not in you, He will align the right person for you to help you bring that vision to life. Right? But instead of we worrying about the how, just do it. Because He already has a plan for us. We just don't know,
Mm.
you
And it's
know?
just to stay, to wait and listen and listen. Now, let me talk about obedience and
Hmm.
logic, because I think that's where a lot of people, there's that conflict between, okay,
Hmm.
does this even make sense, right? So, in the moment when you feel like, okay, I think this is God speaking to me, right? And you want to obey, did obedience align with logic? or did it challenge it? And how do you personally discern between your own thoughts and God's leading?
I think it obedience sometimes does not go hand in hand with
Hmm.
logics. And it's hard to say because when you're being obedient, when God gives you a vision, I feel like sometimes it's so far-fetched. It's like, what the heck are
How?
you
What's going
talking
on here?
about? Like, what? It doesn't make
Yeah.
sense, right? It really doesn't make sense. Because when I even got the vision to go to Dubai, I don't know nothing about Dubai. The only thing I knew about Dubai was riding camel in the desert. Everybody wants to go to Dubai to ride a camel in the desert because that's it,
Hmm.
right? That's the only thing. Like one day I was going to go to Dubai and I was going to ride the camel in the desert and post it all over
Oh,
social
wow.
media, right? That I was in Dubai. That's it. There's no other in North America. Dubai is
Desert.
that's all
Wow.
Dubai is. It's a luxury place to go to, and honestly, to go to Dubai for us it's like, oh, they abuse women, they this, there's all this false
Hmm.
stigma. So when I got the vision it didn't make
Right.
sense. Why Dubai? But being obedient is was like, okay, if that's what you want me to do, then that's what I was going to do. Business is business, right? I know how to start business. I've helped lots of people start businesses, so it can't be that hard,
Hmm.
right? But I knew it was a different culture, so I had to use wisdom as
Right.
well. Right? So you have to know your strength and outsource the
Hmm.
rest. So for me, it was like I didn't know Dubai. So I went on how would I say research to find someone that could help me to start a business in Dubai and interview the right person. And when and how you even knew the right person, it's like it must feels good. It must feel like you have that
Hmm.
connection with the person that you're going to do business with,
Hmm.
right? It's one thing to read the review, but does it feels
Is there
good
an
within your
alignment?
heart?
Hmm. Hmm.
Exactly. And that's when you know it's the right person for you. So for me, it was doing that research, getting connected with a business consultant in
Hmm.
Dubai and let them do the work and surrender that piece to them. So sometimes we got to surrender some of the work and we have to realize that it's going to cost us
Right.
something.
Right.
Sometimes obedience is going to cost us something, and a lot of time it's going to cost us financially. And I think because it's going to cost us financially, we don't take that step.
Hmm. Hmm. Wow.
Right? We're thinking
The
about the
finance.
financial aspect of
Yes.
it. And it's like, no, Lord, but I don't have it. I can't. He already made a way.
Hmm. That's so true. That is so true.
He already made a way. In Dubai, I came up with the most affirmation because God, I remember even called, like, there was time that I'll cry. So the easy part for me was the business consultant. So they were like on point.
That's
Like
your
everything
friend,
was done.
right?
I got my visa, I got my registration, everything was on
Mm.
point. And the vision was just to come to Dubai and start the business there. And then I was going to come back and then go back to start the Airbnb. So when I got my residency card, I got everything. The voice said, where are you going? You're not done yet. I was like, what? And then I remember calling my travel agent and like, okay, how much is this to stay an extra 3 weeks in Dubai? She gave me the price. I booked. I called my husband and he's like, that's not the plan. But I already booked a place, extend my stay, everything, because the voice told me I wasn't done with you
Mm.
yet. It's not time for you to go home yet. So even when my husband was saying, and that's important too, we got to realize that your vision was given to you and people on the outside don't understand it. So it's going to be scary for them what you're doing and they will project that fear on
Mm.
you. And you got to be bold enough and courageous enough to fight for your
Mm.
vision and realize that I don't need permission from you because God already gave me the
Mm.
permission. So even in that instant where I called my husband, like, well, that wasn't the plan, I listen, but I already made the decision for me because the vision was given to
Mm.
me, not to
Mm. But were you
you,
able to
you
then
know?
communicate that in such a way that then they see, and
Mhm.
even if they don't
Well,
understand?
sometimes they might not see it
Mm.
though. Because you have to remember, it's all about mindset. Because if they're not at the mindset where you at, you see, like I could come to you and I could let you know what my vision is, and you'll be excited for me because you understand what it's like to fulfill a vision that is
Right.
unseen. Not everybody understand that. Remember, we were brought up in a way where we go to school, we get a job, we need concrete proof that it's going to
Right.
work. And if there's no proof
From
that
the
it's going to work,
province.
it's a no.
Yeah.
Right. So if you bring your vision to somebody that need proof, they're going to talk you out of it. They will not understand your
Mm.
madness.
So true. Right.
because it's madness, right? So if you're going to let this person who doesn't have a vision for their life talk you out of your vision, guess what? You're going to have two visionless people.
Right. Oof. That's
So so sometimes you can't even let them understand it. They have to see it.
mm,
And the only way for they to see it is for you to fight for
right.
it.
And fighting for it sometimes could look like we're not, we don't agree.
Disobedience.
Yes. It looks like
Mm-hmm.
disobedience
Mm-hmm.
to them. But you are walking in obedience to what you heard God say to do. Ooh, that's
Yeah.
a
I, and here's the thing for us
yes.
Christian and especially a married couple, you have to remember the Bible did say the the man is the head of the
Yes.
household and so forth. But as a woman and as a, when I got the vision, my actions looks like
Hmm.
disobedience. Right. Because I remember even when I quit my job, I'm like, okay, when God gave me the vision and I was going to quit my job, my husband, I told my husband I'm quitting my job. He's like, what? I'm not asking you. I'm telling you what I'm going to do. But I had to be in a place where I know that I had to fight for it
Hmm.
because my husband does not understand where I'm going. My husband does not understand my pain. My husband does not understand my desire.
Hmm.
So even though it looks like, I don't even know what it looks like for him, I can't speak on his behalf, but I know it didn't look right. And it looks like madness. What is my wife mad? What she means she's gonna quit her job to start a business? Like what she means. You know what I mean? But I had to stand up in my word, know that God gave me this vision, and no matter what, it's my responsibility to bring it to life. I know that there's going to be that
Friction. Yeah.
friction,
Yeah.
but know that if you believe, how would I say, if you believe enough in the vision that God gave you, and you know that you cannot fail, and He got you,
You go for it.
you will fight for it. And now, like, if I go to my husband and tell him I'm gonna jump off the moon, he's like, okay, let's go.
That's
What?
where I was
Let's pack
coming
our
from.
bag.
I was
You know,
coming there like it feels like
you know. It was like, let's pack my bag because he sees where the vision come to life. And now, even my husband would say, I'm learning from my wife how to manifest.
I love that.
I know
I
my
love
I know my husband is doing business, you know.
that.
So so look at it. If I was the type of woman where I got the download, I seek, I ask, and he shall answer, right? And when God gave me that vision, if I was the one that listened to people,
Mm,
was very obedient to my husband when he said no, that's crazy or whatever, or all my coworkers thought I was crazy. Are you crazy? You're going to quit your job to do what? And you make all that happen to you. I wouldn't even be here talking to you
true.
right now. I would have been a miserable woman, probably killed myself because I was depressed and unhappy.
Mm. Whoa, that's a huge fight, Nikisha, because I mean, it's a huge fight because again, I feel like me, I don't know what it is, what the what would I say now, what's the factor here. It could be a couple of things from what I'm hearing you say. So the factor is, for example, I'm grateful for your husband who, despite you being like, this is what God said I should do and I'm going to do it, and him saying, okay, do it and let's see, right? Versus people who, especially women who are in such relationship where it's almost like you taking that step to say, no, this is what I heard God say to do. It's almost like you signing your death warrant because they are going to come for
Mm-hmm.
you, right? And so for me, it's like,
Mm-hmm.
how
Mm-hmm.
do they balance it? Just 2 days ago, somebody I know was on TikTok talking about the same thing, and she's even said she's going to have a live session about it, on the weekend to say that like she knows of somebody who is like she's had it to hear, like she's been the one, kind of funding the home front and all of that, and now she feels like she's the place she was toxic, just like you said, and she knows she needs to leave, and she made that decision to leave. But that period of her leaving to then starting her own business, it was hell for her. It was hell, and she's still going through that hell, but she doesn't want to take a bow because of her kids. Like it's a bit of like, what does she do?
It's a lot of
Yeah.
struggle. It's a struggle, but here's the thing. I don't think when you talk about balance, and a lot of time they talk about balance. Remember, I said there's sacrifices. there's you have to give up something to gain something. You know what I mean? And for me, I gave up the woman that I was, the woman that everybody depended on, the woman that catered to everybody, the people pleaser. I gave her up to become this version of me that say no. And sometimes no look like um to the next person that you don't care. Sometimes no look like you're selfish. Sometimes no look like so much different things for different person because they could internalize it their version. But I need to say yes to me now. And we were having that conversation today at the gym with one of my we were working out together. And one of the things we were talking about as women, we give so much. We gave our entire life. And now that we're in our 50s, 40s, our body's paying for it. We're aching. We are sore. And guess what? It's not that we give. We give in a place where we are empty, we're in pain. No matter what we're going through, we show up. We show up no matter what. We block out what are or the we resist, like we're so I don't even know if it's resilient. It's just mental toughness. Like we're breaking down, we're in pain, we're suffering, we're going through a lot. But because our loved ones or wherever demand us, we show up so much for them. And then illness starts showing up later on. And then we pay for it. We're the one that's paying the price, not them. We're the one that our knees hurt, our back hurts, our head hurts. We gain all this weight. Mentally, we're insecure. There's all these things because we refuse to say yes to ourselves and yes to everyone else. And I think it's like once we get to this point where they always say when we reach 50 and 60, it's like we don't give a heck anymore. That's because we got tired of saying yes to everyone and no to ourselves. And it's time for us to start saying yes to ourselves. But as women, we need to change that where we're teaching the younger woman to start saying yes. I tell my daughter, yeah, I tell my daughter, I said, listen, you put yourself first no matter what, 100%. And if mommy, me, don't make you feel the way that you desire, you can write me off. You could say no to me. If I make your life miserable, don't feel like you're obligated to stay in misery. You got choices. And that's the thing. No one taught us that we had choices. We stay in marriage that are broken. We take care of loved one that break us to pieces. But we're still serving them and we're serving them and they're breaking us down, 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 down. We have choice. We could say no. I don't like the way you make me feel. And I'm going to choose not to come back. Find somebody else to take care of you. But nobody taught us that, right? And if we start teaching the younger generation, you got choice. Because even though we're parents, we still need to be respectful. We still need to uplift the next generation. They don't owe us nothing. We're coming from a generation that think the kids owe the parents. They don't owe us nothing. You chose, but that was a choice. You chose to have us. You chose to invest in us. So why are we obligated? I'm not saying that we shouldn't. Out of the goodness of our heart because it's what God wants of us. We should. We should, but it shouldn't be an obligation, you know? And I think that's the mindset that we grew up with that need to that prevent us. This is what happened. It prevent us from listening to God and be obedient to God because we were trained to be obedient to man.
And it's funny because isn't that the same thing that happened even with the priest of the old, like the religious leaders of the old, like they were so fixated on obeying what people would see, and they missed out on when God was literally in front of them to say, I am changing the order. Like I created you, I created the law, and I'm changing the order of things. But they're like, no, 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 no. This is how it's been done. That's how it should continue to be done, right? And we have the same
Yeah.
mentality nowadays where we just like you said, we forget, or we don't realize that we have the power to choose differently.
Yeah, you're right. And if you even like what come to me because Easter just passed is like the disciple, the message to Jesus. Like, yes, people are not going to understand it, but you still go do what I tell you to do. They're going to fight against you. They're going to want to kill you. They're going to want to do all these things. But what I ask you to do, you must. And that doesn't matter if it's your husband, your wife, your kids, their man. Our obedience is to God first. And we forget that. We completely forget that. We obedient. We're obedient to everybody else. If they tell us to drive, the other day I was in Dubai and I even know I saw a light flash on the highway. I was like, "What kind of madness is this? 300 dirham." Guess what? I was following the rules after that. Like 300 dirham.
You're
Like what
fine.
kind of madness is this?
Don't mess around.
But guess what? I ain't getting another one. I'm
Right.
obedient. It's so easy it was for man to be obedient, for me to be obedient to man because the consequence was
Instant.
immediate. But
It's
because God's
merciful.
consequence is not immediate,
Mm. Now let's talk about disobedience for a bit, right? You know, looking back now, what do you believe could have happened if you hadn't obeyed? Like, what did that experience teach you about the hidden cost of ignoring divine guidance?
okay. So here's what that would have cost me. Just that I'm getting the reflection. The people them that I served would not be served. Right now, I'm looking at the community, the parents that I'm providing relief to them. As I mentioned earlier, I do serve individual with disability. I do provide a respite service for them. So I look at the family that I serve right now. I wouldn't be able, they wouldn't be able to get the service that I'm giving. I'm not saying that they couldn't get something else, but they couldn't get what I have to offer. Right. And for some family, I'll say maybe two or three I could look at where I'm providing a unique service that they can't find anywhere. And the unique service is me. It's not the business. It's me. It's what the Lord put in me. Two, I'm looking at my team. My team rely on me. There's also that rely on the income that come from this business. Right. So, and I'm grateful for that because sometimes I sit back and I say, God, thank you. Because I was obedient, I'm able to feed other households. You understand? So you see where that obedience came from. I look at the community that I serve. I look at the people's life that I've touched. I've looked at since I launched my business, I could say because of my experience, over 40 women have started their business. Just from my experience, whether indirectly I help them with their strategy or not because of my and people have reached out, Nikisha, I see you do this and I see you do that, and people come to me because they see the journey and they see possibility. Like I can. I show them that you can. I was just having a conversation with someone today, and she's like, Nikisha, I'm doing my ministry and I went to get a job. And I don't know, I'm at the workplace. And I'm like, why am I here? And I said, because you're focusing on the money and not what God is telling you to do. You're focusing, yeah, you have an income, you have bills, but you are a minister, you are a pastor. You're supposed to have more faith in God than to go do a job that is not serving you. This is not God's intention for you. But a lot of time we're not flexible with our vision as well, right? Because we have a set idea how it should go, right? And if it doesn't go that way, we're not flexible. And I'll use even how I met you, my recent experience. Like, this is powerful. Are you guys ready for this story? Like, okay. So in December, I woke up one morning, I woke up and the voice said to me to pause my business in Dubai. And for those of you who don't know, while you're watching this, I in 2022, 2023, I don't remember, no, 2024, I launched my hospitality business in Dubai. So I have one property and I was in the process of getting a second property. The only thing was missing. I already did everything. Is when I come in February, I was going to get the Ijari. But the only thing was missing was the money transaction. That was it. Everything was done. I got the agreement. Everything was done. And then the current property that I have was fully booked to February 2027, minus the summer. Minus the summer, because summer in Dubai, those are monthly. So from May to I think September, no, from June to September, I had no booking, but I had fully booked out from February to May, and then from September to September this year to 2027 February, fully booked out. I got the vision to pause the business. And I was like, oh, I remember calling my husband and I say, you know what? The Lord said to pause Dubai business. I don't know what's his plan, but I'm going to pause it. I got up and I wrote an email and I sent it to the realtor that I was getting the second property to, and said, there's unforeseen event. I'm not able to get the property anymore. Okay. Now I send so the second property I sent to that realtor as well. Like, I'm no longer gonna renew the lease because I was in the process of renewing the lease. Everything was done just to get the Arjari. That was it. They love me. They have no problem with me. If I want 10 property, they will give it to me. Right. And I just said, this is just a pause. When I'm ready, I will connect with you for more properties. They say, no problem. We like you, do business with you, done. I spent the entire month of January canceling all of those, every reservation from February 15th, because I was in Dubai February 15th. And so I canceled all reservation from then all the way. And my goal when I came to Dubai was to cancel my residential card, make new connections, and I had an agenda of things to do. Now, with this visit, my niece was coming with me, so we decided to go to Egypt and to visit Egypt for the weekend. We could have choose any other weekend. Why we chose the 27th of February. We left for Dubai the 27th of February. The weekend that I came was the weekend that I met you. I came to your event, I met you. That was it. And I left the next day, and there was like a whole lot of things that I had planned, but it was when I come back. So I was supposed to be in Egypt the 27th of February, 28th, and come back the 29th. Now the war started on the 28th. I was in Egypt. I left from Egypt and came back to Canada. All my belongings is still in Dubai, right? Now when I come back, I was like, God, thank you. Because then while I was in Egypt, because I have I know other people within the hospitality. I had someone that was working with me and stuff like that. And they're telling me everybody's canceling, everybody's canceling, everybody's canceling. All the Airbnb, 80% is canceled, 90% is canceled. And I
Look
said, look,
at
I got it.
God.
God just saved me. God just saved me. Because only God would have knew what was going to happen in
True.
February when he told me in
To
December.
cancel.
But I could have
The
looked at the
money.
money, because think about it. That was probably like a lot of money. Because
That's a lot.
between
That's a
you're
lot.
making a
Like,
lot of money in
com-
Dubai.
yeah,
It's a lot
it
of
is.
money. And I did not I can't tell you how much money because I wasn't money focused, so I didn't calculate
Mm,
it. I just knew he said to pause it,
that's
and
it.
I was obedient. And it just pray when you are so obedient to God calling, the reward is great, because that reward was awesome. Because I was going to be left with two properties and expenses for two
Mm,
properties. Now I have zero property
and zero expense.
and zero expense
Wow. Wow.
because of my
Brilliant.
obedience to the calling. I could have looked at the money and said, God, you're crazy. You see how much money I'm making? But that's why I said a lot of time you got to give something up.
Mm,
And I gave up the money. The business is paused. I still have a business in Dubai. It paused. It was going to be paused anyways
right. 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 But yeah, it's like it's
because they
better
all
when
are
you
on
are doing it
pause.
intentionally than if it hits you suddenly. Like the impact of the way
The
it's
business, the vision was to pause
not
it. Most Airbnb business
no
right now is
pause
paused in
by like
Dubai.
forced labor.
I went into this, and everybody's like, Nikisha, you're so lucky, you're so lucky, you're
No,
so
it's
lucky. Everybody
obedience.
that know me, and they're like, you're so lucky. It's hard for us here. It's hard for us here. They're trying to negotiate with landlord. They're trying to negotiate with this, and they're trying to negotiate with that.
Hmm. Wow, the power of obedience. Honestly, it couldn't have been easy, but
Mm.
I'm so grateful. And I think
No.
what I hear from you, based off of the things you've shared, is it feels like the more you obey, the more you build your muscle for obedience.
Mm.
Because you've
Mhm.
obeyed over the last couple of years, two things I see from your
You learn.
story is one, you got stronger in your obedience level, like your obedience muscle became stronger. Like now you hear clearly, you know when it is God speaking for sure, because you have proof,
Mhm,
you have
mhm,
evidences from the past. Two, your family trust you better now. Because when you
mm.
say
Yes.
he says we should jump. You're like, okay, oh, do we want para? Do we need parachute for this jump, or do we just free fall,
Mhm.
or do we just free fall?
Yes,
Right?
yes.
And yes,
Mhm,
there are things you had to sacrifice. The money from the business, like there are things you had to sacrifice, but the reward from it now, the peace that you have,
mhm.
the
Yeah.
joy that you have, just knowing that, ooh, I'm grateful that I obeyed as at when I did, and it's just beautiful to
Mhm,
see. And I wanted to speak quickly to how, like, it's not just a one-time thing. That's building a lifestyle of obedience. It's not a one-time thing because you could have stopped when you
mhm,
heard about your work the first time. So it's a continuous thing. I feel like the more you do it, the more God also trusts you with more assignment. Like, okay, I know this girl is
yeah.
gonna jump if I say she should jump, she should jump. It means if I have something that I need to be done in one sector, I feel like you're the kind of person that God will say, you know what? After you started your sending you to a room that
Listen,
feels like you are not supposed to be there. But because he knows, if he tells you today, Nakisha, I need you to enroll in the army, you're going to say, okay, God, that's it, we're doing
I
that,
will.
right?
Hmm.
So it can now.
But here's the funny thing about God, and I have to say, God, you are hilarious. Okay, so when He gives you a vision, I don't want you guys to think that it's easy. God wants you to praise Him. And I often tell people that the Lord will not make it easy because He wants to know how badly you want it. How badly do you want it? How badly do you want it? Do you want it bad enough? So there's going to be challenges. There's going to be reason for you to quit. Right, and it's you have to fight for it. You have to want it bad enough. You have to believe and trust in Him. Like there's things that I'll say to myself. I remember when I got the vision in Dubai to continue, there was financial challenges, and I said to myself, this is my affirmation, y'all could take it. I learned this one in Dubai because when I say, God, where the money's coming from, what came in my heart, if God gives you the vision, He will provide the provision. And I kept saying that. I said, God, this vision is yours, eh? So you better find the provision. And I mean, I've seen, like, when you talk to God too, you see my pato coming out. When you talk to God. Yes. You gotta talk to God be real with him. Have those real conversation where you're not pretending it up. Like, God, I want this now. What do you mean by this? And but then when you have those real conversation, you put on back your clothes. I say, all right, I'm ready for the buckle again. But you're gonna have those conversations where it's like, wait, because it's hitting you against the head and you can't figure it out. And you must be real with yourself. But then when you're done, you say, okay, God, I'm ready to go again. And then that's when because when you're feeling that anxious and when you're feeling that those emotions, he's not going to talk to you, but it's for you to release. It's for you to release. You got to release it. And when you release it, then you must come back and say, okay, God, I'm ready to move again. And you got to practice that because life is real. And what are the things that you could say to yourself to keep you going? Because we got to motivate ourselves. Because remember, we're leading ourselves, nobody's leading us. So, what are the things that you say to yourself to help lead you? You know what I mean? Sometimes when I feel like I don't want to do something, and I was like, God, but I struggle with this. Why am I doing this? I'm already making money here. Why do I need to do this? But I know there's a reason why you want me to do that, right? Like the podcast. I don't need to do a podcast, but my voice need to be heard. Right. And sometimes it's like you're asking him that. And what I often say, he believe in me first. So who am I not to believe in myself? Or when I doubt myself or when I have fear, you just have to remember that God believed in you. That's why he gave you that vision. He only gave you the vision because he knew it was time. He didn't give it to you last year. He didn't give it to you 2 years ago. He gave it to you now because it's time. And if he believe in you, who are you not to believe in yourself? And this is how I talk to myself, you know. I was like, who the heck are you? Who the heck are you? God give you a vision. Go do it. Go do it. But and here's the sticky part with vision though. It will give you the beginning and it will show you the end, but them not show you the middle. The middle is where the work is. The middle. But it give you enough for you to be excited to start. But you see that middle? That middle. But that's the part that you got to push. And I often say when I'm in that middle rut, that's where the rut is. And I'm having those conversations, and I was like, okay, God, you know you're funny. Because if you just show me all of this, I wouldn't even start. I wouldn't even start. And that's why he didn't show it to you. Because he knew you wouldn't start. He showed you the nice, pretty, pretty, pretty beginning and the end. But the middle, boy, you gotta push through the middle. Because God wants all the praise. And he wants you to desire him. I often tell people, I said, God will not make you have everything your heart desires. Nobody. Because if you think about it, which man have everything that their heart desire and have a desire to praise God? So if you have everything your heart desire, what reason do you have to praise him? So he will never. He's going to give you these obstacles because they're for you. They're for you to go through it so you could come back and help somebody else.
So, so good. Thank you so much, Nakisha, for sharing your story. And even for me, I just feel like, by the way, this is not even a faith based podcast at all, but it's like at the end of the day, this is life. Life is life. You don't have a spare part anywhere. So it's not like you have this life, your business is like this, and then your life is no, it's all intertwined, right? So when you are a follower of God or a believer in God, He wants all of you, all aspects of you, your business, your career, your ministry, and we all, most of us, maybe not all of us, but most of us kind of have those different facets of us, right? You're talking ministry, you're talking career, you're talking business, you're talking family. And is this just one you? So if you're not connected to the source, you might struggle with all these different expressions that you have. And that's why you can't really separate those different expression from your source. And he is the source here. And so thank you so much for yielding.
Could I tap into that a little with the source? Because not everyone that's going to watch or listen is Christian. But here's the thing, the source is what you believe in. And I feel like we all need to believe in something greater than ourselves. And when we believe in someone, for me, it's God, for you, it's God, for somebody else, is something else. But as long as you believe in something greater than yourself, you're able to, how would I say, is because it's hard for us to hold ourselves accountable. We usually will give up on ourselves. But when you know that somebody got you and you cannot fail because they got you, it makes it easier for you to do it. So it's all about believing in something greater than yourself. Right now I'm in business partner. I have a partnership with a lot of Middle Eastern, and I remember being in a room the first time I was in a conference with them. Like this is like maybe like 20,000 people in the room, and I'll say 80% in Middle Eastern, right? From the Middle East. And honestly, they were talking about spirituality and everything. And to me, I swear they were talking about God, right? And I was like, I was confused because I'm like, I'm in a room with Middle Eastern, but they were very spiritual and it was all about business, right? And very spiritual. It was after I'm like, are they Christian? And they said, no, they're Hindu. And I was like, wow, it just shows how we all are interconnected spiritually, right? So it's very important for us not to think about this religion and that religion and just think about that spiritual being in us. Who do we believe in? What spiritual being we're connected to? And let that spirituality guide us. Because I like, even though our religion was different, I didn't know that in that room. I was confused because I was like, because he was speaking to the spiritual part of me. And the spiritual part of me is of God, right? And I thought they were like, I'm like, are they Christian? Because they were speaking to my soul. And it's not like they were trying to convert me, but they were spiritual, and spiritual is spiritual. You know what I mean? And it's just like and it was like, and basically it was like your business need to be connected to God and your faith and your belief, and everything that we do need to be connected to our belief system and let that guide us, right? And not just shun other people and like, oh, you don't belong here, you don't we all are spiritual beings.
Thank you so much, Nakisha. And so for my listeners and viewers, if you're watching this on YouTube, this is my stretch question of the day for you. Where in your life is God asking you to trust Him, right? And what would obedience look like in that area, whatever that is? Think about it. Don't just listen to this, sit with it, and also allow the source in you, because we are all spiritual beings first before we came into this body. And that's why we never die, right? So we just transition from this part to another reality, right? So please sit with it. Where is God asking you to trust Him? Where is He calling for your obedience? And what would obedience for you look like in that areas? In that area. Thank you so much. This conversation is a reminder that obedience isn't about perfection, not at all. It's about trust. Trusting that God sees what we don't see, right? That He understands what we can't yet make sense of, and that His guidance is always leading us towards alignment, right? Even when we don't understand it, even when we can't explain it, right? And so if something in this episode spoke to you, don't rush it at all. Sit with it, reflect on it, and most importantly, respond whenever answer comes to you from within. That could be you, your spirit man, telling you exactly what to do. And most importantly, just do so to obey. You see all the benefits and the downside of not obeying, right? I know you've experienced it before, but I hope that this conversation we had today will make you remember those instances where you knew you should have done something one way, you went the other way and you suffered for it. So right now, pay more attention to that. Practice stillness so that you can hear clearly, right? Because sometimes the breakthrough that you're looking for is on the other side of that simple yes. Okay, yes, we'll do it. I'll go. I would answer. That simple yes might just be the source or the start of your breakthrough and the next level for you. All right. So thank you for listening today. Until I come your way again in another episode, remember, stretch gently and trust your pace. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.
Bye.
Stretch Street Podcast.